What's going on, everybody? We're back for another week of messing with Ole Blue. We got our fan in, and I can tell you right now, just by looking at it, that is not going to fit. We got our mechanical fuel pump in. Let's see if we can hook that up this week. And today, what I'm going to do is dedicate some time on seeing if I can't fix these manifolds, or the manifold that's got a crack in it. I'll see what I can do with it. The last resort is to buy a new set. So let's see what we can do with this manifold today. Maybe I can doctor it up, get it towards acceptable. Well, we managed to get the core of that stud out, stuck on the speed out now, but we also broke the ear rate off of that. So I'm going to try to weld it. Don't know if it's going to work, but we'll give it a try. Okay, we got one broken off. Let's see how badly we can mangle this one. Well, I think we failed. This hole, I cannot get them threads out of this hole, and it will not tap. All the speed out is doing is making the top of this larger. I think I'm going to have about as much luck welding this ear back on as I am getting these threads out of this one. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to have to try to find a manifold, at least for the left side of this. The right side, fortunately, I did not mess with yet. It still has the studs in it. I think I'm going to leave it that way. The heck with the new studs. These ones don't look too bad. It was only the left side that actually one of the studs was broken off or rusted through or didn't have any threads left on it. So I think if we can find a left-hand one, we'll get it. But if I can't find the left-hand one, we might have to buy a pair. Trying to look at this crap online is really difficult. If I type in small block Chevy 1980 through 85 exhaust manifolds, they send me all kinds of exhaust manifolds, but the thing that I typed in. I got ones from 88 to 90s. Okay, I've got ones for Corvettes. I don't know if that would fit or not, the ram's horn type. It looks like it would line up, but who really knows? I mean, then we're wasting, what, 2 weeks of mailing and mailing back, and we're going to jump on the old internet and see if we can find something that'll match up to that. I even ran that number. Didn't get a hit on anything, so I don't know, maybe I don't know how to use a computer or something. So I guess from here we got brake lines that need to be secured to the frame. We haven't done that yet. That's got to get done. We got to get that parking brake assembly in, get our fuse block moved and resecured. There's never a shortage of things to do, so let's get out in the garage and do it. Alright, so I went and tested our new fan to see if there was even a chance this thing was going to fit. Even if we were able to reroute them transcooler lines, this thing's going to hit our lower radiator hose. Because this radiator had to be mounted up so high, they did what they could, I'm sure, to make this all work. This radiator has to be where it is in order for the rest of the panels to bolt on and fit right. to what we got going on here. So, yes, we are stuck with this electrical piece of crap. So I'm going to have to get a relay for it so we can wire it in properly. I guess I wasted 30 bucks. Oh well, we'll keep it for another project, just like the headers. Eventually, we'll probably have enough leftover parts to actually put another vehicle together. Who knows? All right, so now that we know that, let's see if we can't get this parking brake assembly mounted permanently in here and get our fuse block moved and resecured. So the spacers we had originally made to raise the floor are going to work perfectly behind our fuse block to be able to move that over and secure it in a new location. So let me get it drilled and we'll get this thing mounted and start working on the parking brake. All right, so our fuse block is moved up and out of the way and secure. We used those spacers we had to give plenty of room for the wires in the back. And now we have full range of motion on our parking brake. Still is a lot closer than I'd like it to be, but I think we can live with that. I think that might work out well, so we can go ahead and permanently mount this in now and figure out how long of a cable we're going to need to reach to the back, and that's pretty much it for that. We got our parking brake assembly installed. She cycles all the way, so I think that's going to be good. We got our fuse block remounted to our new position, secured. Okay, so fuse block relocated, secured, parking brake assembly installed, secured. I found this old piece of rubber plug that fits perfectly over there. So we got minimal damage here on the firewall. There's a few holes to plug. So at this point, we're just not going to do any more body work on this firewall. I'm just going to get some bolt heads, maybe some carriage bolt heads, put them in the holes, paint them blue, and call it good. What we should do now, before I forget it again, is get the starter installed. We're just about ready to start wiring this thing up. I think what we're going to do, because of our lack of inner fender situation, I'm going to start bundling the wires. We'll just put them in a wire loom and maybe just zip tie it up here for now, so we figure out what we're going to do for inner fenders. That way there, sooner than later, we can get this baby fired up. I am going to go and start installing the manifold on the right side so we can get the exhaust started on the right side. Until we can either repair the left one or get a new one, we'll just put the side on hold for now. I want to keep this thing moving along so we can keep putting check marks in our completed list. Okay, so this is the order that I'm thinking anyway. Starter, fuel pump, then we'll throw that right manifold on. We secure all of our brake lines, throw our plug wires on. We got a lot to do, so let's get to it. Well, it would appear that we are 0 for 2 this week. Not only does our fan not fit, but our fuel pump is not going to fit. My thought was if I could cut this old motor mount that they had on here off, we could get that pump on there, but it's not going to work. It's going to hit that motor mount. Okay, well, you know what? I'm beginning to see why this truck was put together the way it was put together. Because there was only one way to make it work, the way they did it. So, we'll put this in our parts bin. I'm telling you guys, we probably have about enough parts to build another vehicle right now. But you can't blame a guy for trying, right? Alright. Let's keep moving on it. Oh, and I should mention that as things continue to snowball for me, like they always do, trans cooler lines, I went to hook them up. The one on the left side is stripped out. It won't tighten up. So I guess we're going to have to buy new fittings. I don't know how it could have been stripped out. I haven't even attempted to tighten anything down yet, until today, that is. So let's just continue and tackle the problems as they come up. So I think what I'm going to do now is start routing some of these wires to the side of the vehicle that they go on. Okay, just to give you guys some idea what's happening here, these wires on this side, most of them are turn signal left, turn signal right, low beams, high beams. It's got the horn, and I didn't know this, but it actually, this harness comes with a fan, wire for the fan, cooling fan. And it's hooked up to a relay, so we don't have to mess with all that. We just can hook right to our fan, which is awesome. This side is going to be where all the power comes in. Starter, one for our coil. These three wires here, one's for tachometer, one's for a oil sending light, and the other's for a temperature sending light, which we're not going to use because we have mechanical gauges. One wire for the alternator, we made that simple. So that's pretty much it for wiring this thing up. I'm just going to throw these in the loom right now and strap them up out of our way. And that way there, when we're ready to wire this thing up, we'll just boom. Okay, so wire is in the loom. Not real crazy about that, but it was better than bringing it across the firewall, or didn't have enough to go around. So that's the best way I can hide that. At least there's not just a mess of wires all over the place. Before this gets too clustery in here, I think we're going to go ahead and, there's only a couple of wires. One for the coil and the distributor. We should probably wire up our starter while it's wide open here. So I think we should do that now while everything's still wide open. Okay, so the very first wire we should connect, I think, should be our distributor. which according to the old book, we have the HEI. So we're looking for the pink wire, number 920, connect right here. The other wire would be, in this application, would be to our tachometer, with the other wire coming out of the HEI. But I'm not using a tachometer right now. I don't think I'm going to put one in, but we'll just coil that wire up and tuck it away. So let's get the pink one out. Right there, number 920. We'll pull it back through to the distributor and make our connection. Alright, there's our first connection. I think our next wire to hook up is for the solenoid, for the starter. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, so the next connection we want to make is to our one wire alternator, and basically just follow the instructions that are here. We're going to get in our alternator parts bag, find the boot, connector, and pretty much that's it. Hook her up. Alright, so first thing we want to do is figure out where we want to mount this fuse block. Probably thinking like underneath the battery maybe, or over here. Could put it up top, but I really don't want any wires hanging out. I guess we gotta have some, so kind of thinking down below would be the best. Maybe somewhere in there. Alright, so we got our wire on, got our boot on. I'm going to leave this a little long so when we put our inner fenders in here, we have enough slack. So what's going to happen here is one side's going to, the alternator is going to bolt to here, and this side goes out to the battery to the positive. We're just going to zip tie it up out of the way for now till we get our inner fender. Okay, so this is the original cable they had going down to the starter. It's a little long. If you want to need to go from there up to here. So I'm just going to trim it down, put new ends on it, and we can reuse this wire. We got the distributor hooked up. We got the solenoid hooked up. We got power from the battery to the starter hooked up. We got our one wire alternator in place. I haven't cinched any of these wires down yet because I'm not really sure where they're going to go on the fender wall. So let's just take a look and see what we got left in our harness. I know a few of them we're not going to use. This one here is electric choke, so we're going to hook that one up. This is power coming from the battery to power the cab. This one is alternator, exciter. We're not using that wire. This 995, which I thought was a 935 for the alternator, does not get used if you have a one wire alternator. So these two, the white and the red, we don't use those. And this is for our AC unit, which we don't have, so we won't be using that one. So actually, there's only two wires left in this side of the harness that we're going to use. This one goes to the battery, and the smaller one goes to the electric choke. This would be a ground. And this side of the engine is wired to fire. This side, like I said, we can't do anything until we get the fenders on. So we bolt our headlight housings on, and then we can run these wires. We still have a horn to hook up, and that's pretty much it. The only thing left on the inside of the cab is the radio, and we're wired, man. So what I think I'm going to do now is go ahead and pull that electric choke wire through, get it wired. Then I guess we can go ahead and throw that manifold on, and we'll bust out our exhaust system. We got a little cleaning to do again before we can get that exhaust system out of the box. So let me get to that. All right, so we got the choke hooked up. I went and rerouted the one wire alternator. Instead of this one going to the battery, the book says this one can be brought down to the starter, so I brought it down to the starter, so we only had one wire coming back up to the battery cable. Got our ends on, got our ground to the block, and our block to the frame. The last wire to put on is the power for the fuse block. This will go right down the end of the positive terminal. And that's the last connection on this side of the truck. So let me go ahead and do that. We are ready for our battery. Made our final connections. What I think we're going to do now is we're going to go through and secure these brake lines and make sure everything is cool. Alright, when got the brake lines all secured, all I use is those rubber clamps. I got them at the Harbor Freight, I think. Do some self-tappers down in there. All of the day. Let's throw the manifold here on the right side. Get our exhaust parts out. See what we got to work with and try to make it happen. Well, it would seem that we have to put the brakes on the old manifold install because I forgot we had a broken off stud in there. Got to get that out. What do you think the chances are we're going to get that thing out of there cleanly? Yeah, that's what I thought. It's always something, man. All right, well, this is attempt number 1 with a speed out. Broke the tip right off it. That's pretty typical. So, let me start drilling. As predicted, attempt number 2. Trying to drill out that speed out tip that's broke off in there. We broke the drill bit off. Yep, so this is what this is going to be like. I'm about at the point where I'm going to say, you know what? Let's put this manifold on. It's going to have an exhaust leak. I don't care. I'm going to try one more time. If I break another bit, this thing's going to go on without the last stud. Don't care. Okay, we got the manifold on, and no, I did not get that bolt out. I broke off 2 drill bits and a speed out, and I'm done with it. So I don't imagine it's going to leak too badly, but remains to be seen. We're going to move on. We got to get this mess cleaned up so we can get our table on here and lay out our exhaust system, see what we got to work with. Okie doke, we got our mess all cleaned up. We got our work table back out. And for those at home that are interested, this is a 2 1/4 inch exhaust system, and this is what you get when it comes to you. I got this one from Speedway, by the way. They give you 4 90s, 4 of the, I want to say they're 33 degrees maybe, 4 of the straight pipes, and 4 of the U's, and of course 2 mufflers. Does not come with the collectors. I bought the collectors separately, along with the stud kit and the donuts, or gaskets as people call them. I don't think these are right for this system. I think before we try to fit anything together on this truck, it's a good day to get that manifold out here and try to weld the ear back. I can tell you that my success rate with this, well, first let me tell you this. Back when I was a young man, I worked at a local muffler shop. And here in the north, back in those days, you needed a new muffler like every year, every 2 years. And you needed a new exhaust system probably every 2 to 3 years because it just rots out. So I've seen a lot of this. Studs broke off in the manifold, studs broke off, bolts broke off in the block. And it's very, very difficult to get these rusted bolts or studs out. But I've worked with some guys, the older guys, they had it down to like a science. I've seen them do this. I've seen them weld ears on before successfully. I will tell you guys this, the few times that I've tried it have been unsuccessful. I've never had one that actually stayed. And what I mean by that is, once you start tightening the collector down onto the manifold and put the pressure on the ear, it's going to crack right back off again. That's been my experience in the past. I'm not expecting anything different today. So let's just go into it. Let's just go into it like that, knowing that I'm going to fail. And if it does stay on there, hey, you know what? So we're going to give it a try, see what happens. Well, it ain't pretty, I can tell you that much. One thing I do know is that we're not going to get studs in there. So what we're going to have to do is probably find some long bolts and use them. We're going to have to clean it out. I'm almost afraid to stick a drill bit in there, but I think if we can get the holes cleaned out well enough, we can just use bolts. Bolt the collector on. At least we gave it a try. So let me go ahead and get that cleaned up, see if I can't get those holes cleaned out, and we'll get that one bolted on. Well, my record still stands. Want to clean that hole out, rope the air right back off again. So I guess we got to get on the internet and find a manifold for this thing. I was kind of hoping this thing would have worked long enough to get this thing running anyway, but that's the way it goes. Well, what a difference a day makes around here. Yesterday it was 53 degrees. Right now, this morning, 14. It's pretty cold in here. I ran out of gas from my heater, so we're doing it in the cold, and really cold. But let's see if we can't start mocking up the right side of this exhaust and see how far we get. Alright, I think that'll work for us. We got a straight shot right out to the back of the truck. We'll go ahead and bolt this all up, clamp it all up. As soon as we get the manifold for the left side, we'll repeat the process. We'll be one step closer to the last piece of the puzzle, which is the fuel system. And then we can fire this baby up. Alright guys, I think we made a lot of good progress again this week. We got our parking brake assembly permanently mounted in there. Got our fuse block moved over and secured. We got the engine wired, ready to fire. We got our exhaust system all mocked up on the right side. I need to get some hangers and clamps yet. We're moving right along, I think. Next week will be even better, I hope. I'm hoping next week will be the week we can fire this baby up for the first time since last July. We'll see how well we did with our shade tree freshen up. Hey, I appreciate you guys showing up every week to check it out. Hope to see you next week. Till then, man, take it easy.